I don't really worry too much about what is an artist. I worry more about if something is interesting. A lot of times people say, well, that movie on YouTube, why is that not art? And your piece is, but who cares? It's just whatever is interesting. I am Rafael Rozendaal. I'm Dutch-Brazilian and I live around the world. And that's possible because the internet is my stage. My father's a painter, so I grew up in his studio making drawings and paintings, and all the materials were around. And then I would make a drawing and my uncle would say like, oh, that's a beautiful drawing, can I buy it from you? And he would give me like a little change. But then I didn't have the drawing anymore. So then I thought, if I make prints, things like that, then at least I can have a copy. But then the internet came around, and then I have a copy and the whole world has a copy. I think if you would tell Leonardo da Vinci there's this magical box that anyone in the world can access, and they can also talk to you, and you can work with color and with sound and with interaction and with movement, and any time of the day you can change whatever, and anyone in the world can see it for free, I think he would be pretty excited. So I've started posting things online. Then I thought, if you put something in a domain name, it's more framed, it's more of a finished work, and you're saying, this is really a work, it's not just some file, it's really something. So I started putting things on domain names, and the domain name makes it sellable. And then after it's sold to a collector, the name of the collector is mentioned in the title bar. So it's kind of like owning a public sculpture and having your name at the bottom of the sculpture in the park, and the more people come to that park and the more people see it, the better for the collector and for me. So I kind of feel that excitement when you see something online and you're like, oh, you gotta see this. It's kind of an upgrade of that, where you're like, this is really exciting, but not only am I sharing it, I also own it. Here's the Jello. Yeah, the Jello was one of the first pieces I sold. I'm very interested in finding these solutions with my programmer. I had this one idea of just flipping a page with different colors. And there's a lot of examples on the internet where you have a script for flipping a page. So I was like, why don't you just copy one of those scripts and we just put colors instead of content? And he's like, no, I'll just build it from the ground up. It'll be a better result. I was like, okay, but don't put too much time into it. I don't know if it's interesting. It's quite a boring idea. And he got so into the details, and we were working a long time to make it really feel like a piece of paper. Because if it's too slow, it feels like leather, and if it's too fast, it feels like air. And it's a long process, but then it turned out to be that people loved it, and it's one of my most visited pieces. But it's just really unpredictable. Maybe that counts for all art, but I feel like this interactive depiction, it's really a lot about experience, and you don't know beforehand if it will resonate. The biggest process for me is finding the perfect form for the idea. Because it's very easy to think of like, oh, it would be cool to have a website that just has popcorn. But then to actually make it and that it becomes something interesting, that's the struggle, I guess. First I had to make drawings of popcorn, but then you have to think about, what does popcorn sound like? So if you have popcorn in the microwave is way louder than the popcorn. The popping is really quite soft, but in your mind it's a very powerful. So we were in a studio and we were trying all these type of things. Finally what we used was popping balloons and then using a lot of distortion on top. So this is what it sounds like. I just felt that there was this huge energy where people are on their computer all day and they want to share things, but then it's this really powerful thing when you get together and you actually see each other and you share things in a bigger space. All my friends own projectors, we all make moving images. Why don't we get together, everybody brings their own gear, and we just project. BYOB stands for Bring Your Own Beamer, which in Europe we say beamer instead of projector. I was very surprised that within 2 months it just started spreading very quickly, and within less than 2 years there's been almost 70 editions. This could be a model of what computing is in the future, where it's not restricted to devices, it's just all around us, and we just have these images and you just walk through the internet, you're not just holding it in your pocket. Minority Report. I'm really hoping, and I don't know if this is naive, but the way musical recording shook up the music world. Before that, it was symphonies, and you had to wear a suit, and it was only for kings and queens. And then music was recorded, and popular music became the thing and the dominant thing. The art world has not been affected so much because it's all around physical objects, but the weird thing about that is that physical objects are difficult to make, and they're made in a very small edition, which means the audience is old and rich. So I'm hoping that with this internet we can have support of rich old people, but we can also have an audience that fits the artist.